If I can get through this without crying, it's going to be a miracle. I can't let my mascara run. We've got a show. I saw it, and it's a wonderful show. Please do the show we rehearsed so it doesn't freak Sam out. If you start getting creative and inventive, you know, the whole thing can go to hell in a handbasket.
Sorry, Sam.
Okay? Do your blocking. Make sure that you're not throwing things at the audience. I don't want to see any of that. No slip and falls. Make sure you guys are cleaning up if there's any messes out there. All right, I gotta go open the house. Sam, I have to go.
Lights 4 and video 2. Where's our announcement?
It was after Oklahoma was over, my first show in 1985. I think it was Julia Caston and maybe Keith Pilgrim, who's now Keith Harris, said, "What show are we doing next?" You know, and I said, "I don't know. We'll think about that." And I think it was Julia said, "Let's do the Rocky Horror Show."
I've always been a fan of Rocky Horror. I watched it back in the 80s, and Mr. Holmes had been talking about doing it for years, saying he'd do it when he retired.
David keeps talking about it. He's talked about it, you know, as long as I've known him.
Every spring, you know, he'd play with the entire class. You know, maybe we'll do Rocky Horror this spring, and you know it never would happen, but you kind of held out hope.
I knew I was going to retire in 2014, so in the summer of 2013, I said, I think I'm going to retire next year. What's my retirement show? Within 20 minutes, there were 40 posts from alumni from all over the country, all saying, Rocky Horror, and are you serious? Are you really doing Rocky Horror? Tell me when. But I still don't think it's appropriate for high school. How am I going to get out of that? And I actually tried to back out. But then my partner in vocal music, Carolyn Tara Oka-Brady, suggested Les Miserables, which is my favorite musical of all time. And so the chance to do Les Mis with a revolving stage was just perfect for me. So I was able to come to that class just before summer and say, I'm going to give you 2 truths and a lie. 1, my retirement show is the Rocky Horror Show. 2, next year's show is Les Miserables. And 3, I'm not retiring next year.
I heard from Tam that he was doing it, and I called David and said, I have to do this. So I don't think he even asked me. I think I kind of volunteered myself.
30 years of service, who wouldn't want to do a show with your high school theater director?
The fact that so many people came from all over the country to do this show is just a testament to, you know, not only Dave's, you know, teaching, but also to the profession in general.
Probably best to make some introductions or kind of let everybody know who's who and what parts they're playing, and we're kind of checking to see who's here. We're going to take roll, right?
It's like a high school reunion, but way better, because we all know the space and we all know David, but none of us really went to school together. So sort of experiencing it all and with all of our different memories and traditions is totally amazing.
No idea if they could sing it, but leap of faith, you know, son of a gun, most of them could sing it, and they practiced hard, and they showed up the first day with so much enthusiasm and so much energy.
Just missed out on sensation!
Like the sedation!
Let's do the time warp again! Let's do the time warp again!
To take you on a strange journey.
How strange was
It
it?
was so strange, they thought it would be appropriate for a high school stage.
Hey, I have a quick idea. What if we had cue cards that we held up to the audience so that they would know?
No, they've got to know it. They've got to know it.
I'm playing the role of Rocky. It thankfully doesn't require a lot of memorizing lines. Your body is like the whole thing, which is the character as well. You're just basically a body getting used.
Forward, same thing. Cross over the front. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start to go.
I want to go.
Well, we can't go anywhere.
You know, ego kicked in from when I was in high school, and it was like, well, lead role, biggest one. I'm definitely always been strongest as a character actor and as someone who's pretty physical. So it was kind of a no-brainer. And, you know, most memorable character, biggest, has my name written all over it.
How do I see you met my faithful hand down?
The start on a Saturday, open on a Thursday. You know, I had full confidence in that until I started to sing. So that's definitely different. I think that the fact that you've got people coming from all over the nation together, people that have been in the business for a while, that haven't been in the business for a while, trying to do some guerrilla arts, it's pretty cool. It's very cool. It's stressful. It's exhausting. I thought I could work during the day and then do this, and that didn't happen. I'm definitely not working right now.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Patient. There's going to be a lot of people signing up for this, so yeah, I'll sign up and say I'll be Frankenfurter. Why not, right? He was talking about at first quadruple casting it, so I was like, oh, it's going to be, you know, one song, one scene, maybe, you know, piece of cake, no problem. And then the thing came out, and it's like, oh, it's double cast. It's a whole act. When the cast list came out, the idea of it was a lot more daunting than I had expected, so.
I flew in, and I actually was told May 31st I'd be doing Columbia. So I only had 5 days to get my lines learned, learn my song, and a top number.
Well, I was walking down the street just to having a pick when a stick of a guy gave me a evil wink.
I've been rehearsing, and actually the top numbers are going great. And something happened over here, I don't know, and my knee just slipped out, and I thought it was going to go back in, but it didn't. So I collapsed, and every single person came up on the stage. Everybody that I know came up, and it was just right there. So that was really special to have.
She's on stage. That's the only way I could do the show, is if she was in the show with me. Because when you brought it up, I was 8 months pregnant, and I was like, well, I'm going to have a baby as soon as this opens, and she's going to be really young, so.
So how many of you guys have actually used the tool in the last several years? That's a pretty good percentage. I like that one. This is good.
I used them.
So you all remember how screw guns work, kind of?
Yes.
So for some of you who have been away for a little bit or stuff like that, don't get hurt.
I am the costume coordinator, and so I have, I got here Saturday, and I made a jacket on Saturday night, and then I made a jacket on Sunday. So I have mended, I have split seams, I have fixed, I have embellished, I have, pretty much everybody has something I touched on this show.
And for me as a musical director and as a conductor, my big goal is that no one has to worry about anything except for singing and performing. Those 4 years in high school are such formative years. You know, the difference between 24 and 28 is much less impactful than necessarily, let's say, 14 to 18. And those are the years that you start to define yourself, you start to define your taste. The impact of having David as an instructor and kind of the family that I found in the theater arts department and whatnot was something that's kind of kept me excited about the arts. As a friend, as someone who loves him, and he's supported me through my whole career. He's come out to gigs I've done, and so there was no way I was going to miss this.
You know, I was like an older brother for a lot of them, and then as I matured and got older, I became dad. It was a great treat for me to have a student slip and say, "Dad," and they're, I met Mr. Holmes. I said, "It's okay."
It's weird calling him David or Dave.
No, he's always Mr.
Every
Holmes.
time I walk past him, it's like, "Hi, Mr. Holmes."
Well, my mother was one of his first students when he was teaching at La Colina before he even came to San Marcos.
I found out while I was here that he was friends with my dad in college, and they used to make bathtub beer together.
I didn't go to my high school reunion, so for me this is a reunion with the people I spent the most time with. The theater program was the reason for being here at this school for me. So to come back here and do this again is like coming home.
Well, I thought it was going to be kind of like a high school reunion, but it's almost better than that because not only are you seeing the people from your year, but you're seeing people that you worked with. There are people in the cast that graduated 2 to 3 or 4 years before I did, and seeing them come back for this and seeing them again is something that I wouldn't have been able to do normally under a normal reunion circumstance.
We're all so different and we all have so many different lives, and the other thing is we really haven't had time to get to know each other because there just wasn't. And so I'll find myself sitting down and be like, "Say, so day 5, what do you do?" And Mike was saying, he's like, "Yeah, I'm a manager at Home Depot." I'm like, "Seriously, dude? He's killing it up there. It's riprap."
I'm not really feeling a giant amount of age difference between, people that graduated last year and, yeah, look, they're laughing back there. They're feeling it. But I'm not. I'm fooling myself.
You're still
I'm
a child, Brian.
It's really creating living art on stage. If I can get through this without crying, I'll be lucky because it's something I'm very passionate about. And I think the students who work with me catch that. There's something about it, it's important. It's like an art installation that's up for 3 days. In our case, it was performing for 2 days. And if you're lucky enough to experience that art in performance, it will have an effect on you. Once it's over, it's like any art installation. Once it's gone, you have some photographs and maybe some interviews with the artist, etc. But the art is gone. It's very temporary. And when kids come into high school, the idea of creating a safe place to be yourself, that's hugely important.
I've seen kids that come in and they are too scared to speak, and then by the end of it they're want to be center stage.
When I didn't fit into other worlds, I fit into the arts. It was a place that I could easily call home. There was zero judgment, so it's very necessary to foster those kinds of environments for kids.
I wasn't the sort of guy who could walk onto a football team or anything like that, but here I could be as odd as I happen to be.
So Mr. Holmes meant the world to me in high school. This was where I lived. I did musical theater. I did everything, and he gave me the strength and the courage and the belief that I could do this for a living. I was 14 years old, and it just turned it into a passion for me.
Maybe there have always been, these broken kids that have gravitated to the theater, and you have to ask yourself, why is that? What are they getting out of it that they don't get in their lives away from school? And it's stability, it's purpose, it's passion, it's confidence, it's reward, it's family when they don't have family. It's a bonding that occurs when you spend 12 weeks together with a group of students. You can't help it but to get close to them.
I think when you're in high school, the stuff that you remember is the stuff that has the biggest impact on you. And I think people who were in this theater program, this is what they remember about high school, the relationships they formed here, things they learned from Mr. Holmes, being on that stage. That sticks with you a lot longer than the English class you took or the history exam that you failed.
I think you learn a lot when you're part of theater. It's not just about how you can do theater later in life. It teaches you so much about how to work well with people because you're in such close quarters with people all the time. You become like a little family, and you have to learn how you know, everybody has different attitudes and personalities, and you have to be able to deal with that kind of thing. Especially in theater, you get the big divas sometimes. And you're gonna run into that no matter where you are, not just on stage. You're gonna find people who are like that, and it's a great way to learn how to work with people like that. I think that's one of the main things. That and having a well-rounded education, knowing art, and not just, you know, arithmetic and history and everything. Those are great, but if you know everything else, you can find the beauty in life too.
The things that I tried to get the students to do, and not always successful, but to leave all that garbage outside, all that bad stuff that happens, you know, leave it out there and see if you can refocus, you know, on this scene or this play.
It doesn't matter if you have a lick of talent. If you want to be in this department and do some kind of some kind of contribution, you are welcome with open arms.
All these kids onto the stage, it can raise their self-worth, it can raise their hopes and dreams, it gives them a feeling unlike anything else that performing can give you.
And I know what it's like to teach, I know what it's like to feel like you're trying to impact people's lives, you're trying to kind of give them something to work with, but sometimes kids are, they're not in a space to hear it. So sometimes you feel like you're sowing seeds and just hoping for the best. And so it's an amazing opportunity when you see someone actually come back and tell you the impact that you know they've had you've had in their lives.
It's kind of like the schedule's a moving target, you know, and if I make a change, then it affects everybody, and you know, people are still trying to keep their day jobs. I don't know why. They should have quit.
It's trying to ring a little bit. She said, "Stop your plumbing, I hear someone coming."
Stay out, strong.
I have no butt.
Me? I can't hear. Me?
Okay, nothing comes loose, you feel good?
Absolutely.
He's given a lot, and if we can, in 2 nights, give back any percentage or any portion of that, that's a lot.
Something that we can say that we got to do it. Like, I was there, I was up there, I was singing and shouting, and people were clapping, and you know, Mr. Holmes is never going to have another retirement show. You know, we may never be able to get a giant alumni cast like this ever again.
A great show. This is, you know, last night was crazy. This is going to be crazier. Try to hold for laughs. Try not to get thrown off by the callbacks. Break a leg, have fun. I'm going to go get this thing started.
Our first run through, I thought, you know, we'll have some slapdash thing for people to come see, and really it's about raising money for the program. It was a really, really intense and really important week for me.
Like you two, go.
Good evening, San Marco. Welcome to the final performance of the final production under the tutelage of a Mr. David Holmes. A toast. Do you have a telephone I might use?
Go quick.
No shit, Sherlock.
The rain has been very heavy.
No shit. What happens at San Marcos stays at San Marcos.
Say goodbye to all of this.
And hello to oblivion.
I would like.
You would you?
If I may. Well, I was going to do it anyway. To take you on a strange journey. It was so strange, they thought it was appropriate for a high school stage.
Theater is something I was lucky enough to make a living doing for a while. Things kind of changed and I ended up going back to school, and I've been kind of doing about 2 or 3 shows a year for the last couple years or so. But this kind of really made me realize that I never didn't want to do theater. I took a break, and even though it is, really a high school show, it did kind of reawaken that itch. This wasn't just a job.
I don't think any of us really expected it to have the kind of personal impact that it had on everyone involved. Right to the, very last person, all basically said the same thing. It was the most incredible week that they'd spent, and certainly was for me. Just lovely, adorable. It was fabulous. I don't think this whole Rocky experience is over. I intended it to be over. I intended this to be like a flash mob, boom, we're done. See you, thank you everybody, good night, I'm out of here. I kind of don't think that's going to happen. There's such an incredible wave of enthusiasm about trying to do this maybe annually. Now, I don't know if I'm up for that or not, and I'm not sure if the school is up for it or not, but it's worth talking about. And there are enough people that are interested and enough people that couldn't make it who regret it that I think it could be actually very, very much fun.
Science fiction, double feature. In utero. Frank has burrowed down, lost his creature. Darkness has conquered. Brad and Janet, the servants gone too.
It was actually probably in my life the single greatest week of my life that I've spent in and around, the theater. It really was tremendous. I can't imagine a better, more satisfying way to leave the teaching profession than to be surrounded by former students who love the theater and love performing, and who really dove in and made Rocky the success that I think the public will claim for the show, because it really was tremendous.
Our after party last night went until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and if I fell asleep, then I wasn't gonna get up. And I had to get up at 8, and I had to get here by 10. And so in my delirious state, I just start writing penis stories And so puns, yes. Dick Johnson said he was firm. He's coming. He hopes we have a large opening. Cox, he asked. And I said, no, Dick. No animals are allowed to come. I also heard from Wang Wee Wee Siemens, and she said that she too was coming, but after her husband. Apparently he finishes early. Have you heard from Rod Schlong yet? He doesn't know if he's coming. I told him to come early, get his tickets so he doesn't get shafted.
So, did you actually sleep last night, or have you just been up?
I haven't slept yet. Harry Ball's called to say he's feeling swollen and all black and blue, so he won't be coming to tonight's show.